we're going to look at a number of different clustering methods, and some of them we have looked at already. So we've just looked at KD trees. KD trees, it's a technique for speeding up nearest neighbor computations, but it is effectively a clustering technique, right? Because think about what it does. It takes your data set and it partitions it into a number of groups. So as a result of KD trees, you end up with these regions. They're funky little rectangular regions, but you have cut up your space, right? So each one of these regions is effectively a cluster. So what kind of a clustering is a KD tree technique? It is monothetic. I'm going to claim. Why is it monothetic? Because remember, KD tree is fairly aggressive. At every step, at every level of the tree, it cuts the data space in half. So it's going to take a very small number of cuts until you reach the final level. So when you are trying to describe all the instances in one cluster in a KD tree, you will have a very short description. Right? It'll be about how three or maybe five different attributes compare to the threshold values that you've picked. So you will have a very succinct description of why every point landed in the region where it landed. So it's probably, I guess it's closer to monothetic than polythetic. It is a hard clustering technique. The point falls into one and only one region based on the cut, and it is hierarchical. Remember, you can cut the tree at various levels and you would end up with different clusterings of the data, which all nest within each other. So it's a hierarchical technique. Now, what else are we going to talk about? This lecture, we're talking about K-means. K-means, it's going to take your data set, split it into a predetermined number of subpopulations. So you're going to say, I want K equals 5 subpopulations, and it's going to find them for you. It's a polythetic technique. So there's not going to be a single attribute or a couple of attributes that tell you why an instance goes into the cluster. It will have hard boundaries, and it is flat. Next lecture, we're going to talk about mixture models, Gaussian mixture models, and the EM algorithm. A mixture model is an example of a clustering technique with soft boundaries. So the main difference there is the point will be associated with all the clusters that you have to various degrees, not just with one cluster like in Kmeans. It's going to be polythetic just like Kmeans, and it's going to be flat as well, but the boundaries are going to be soft. And then at the end of the course, we're going to talk about agglomerative clustering. So it's polythetic as well, but the boundaries are hard and the technique is hierarchical, kind of like the KD tree.